All right, we are already on chapter 9, Furry Hands. Where are they going? Ben asked as the fairy swarm flew beyond Button Lake toward the surrounding forest. To make mischief, Mr. Tabby replied. Pearl watched as the swarm tightened into a whirling ball, then dove into the trees. At least they didn't head to town, she said. That would be a disaster. My dear girl, it is only a matter of time before the sugar fairies realize that a known world forest is nothing like an imaginary world forest. The trees here are not made of spun sugar. There are no teacup flowers filled with butterscotch syrup, nor do sprinkles rain from the sky. As soon as they get hungry, they will head into town in search of sweets. Pearl thought of the syrup bottles at the diner, the cherry licorice at the movie theater, and the candy aisle at the Food for Less market. Even the dollar store sold candy. How terrifying would it be for her parents if a swarm invaded? The wiener dogs would go ballistic. Mr. Tabby is correct. Dr. Wu turned away from the window. Though the fairies have come here seeking protection, we can't have them flying free. Even without magic, they will wreak havoc on your town. Until we figure out how to get Max out of the imaginary world once and for all, Tawana Beth and her sugar fairies will need to stay in the hospital where we can keep an eye on them. She grabbed her coffee mug and took a big sip. Then, with a resolute expression, she said, "They must be caught right away." How will we catch them? Ben asked. We have one thing working in our favor. A strand of long hair fell across the doctor's face. She pushed it aside. Sugar fairies aren't nocturnal. They will most likely nest in the trees for the night, but once the sun rises, there will be trouble. So that means we need to catch them before sunrise, Pearl said. We're going into the forest? Ben asked with a gulp. In the dark? Do you think that's safe? He shuffled nervously. Aren't there wolves? Or bears? Don't be silly, Pearl told him. Wolves are just overgrown dogs, and we haven't seen a bear around here since last summer. Or maybe it was this summer. I can't remember. But it was just a grizzly. Those are the worst, Ben exclaimed. Mr. Tabby picked up his creature calculator and typed on its little keyboard. A grizzly bear rates a 5 on the danger scale. But this is only if you wander into its territory or threaten its cubs. Ben didn't look relieved. 5 was the highest rating. Dr. Wu didn't flinch at the mention of a grizzly bear. She'd clearly dealt with much more dangerous creatures. She looked calmly at Ben. Neither you nor Pearl is expected to venture into the forest against your will, but I could certainly use your help. Ben rubbed the back of his neck. What do sugar fairies rate on the danger scale? With magic, they rate a 5. Without magic, they rate a 2. Mr. Tabby said, their mischief will result in theft and vandalism mostly, and as you know, they bite if provoked. The pain hadn't been as bad as an actual bee sting. If it meant saving the imaginary world, Pearl could handle a few more bites if necessary. I'll do it, she said. Then, despite her excitement, she yawned. Oh, and because yawns tend to be infectious, Ben yawned too. This may turn into an all-nighter, Dr. Wu warned. No problem, Pearl said, though she'd never have had any luck staying awake all night. She wouldn't miss this opportunity, even if she had to tape her eyelids open. My parents know I'm here, so they won't worry about me. And Ben left a note for his grandpa. Ben nodded. So, how do we catch them? With this. She picked up the butterfly net that Dr. Wu had used to catch Tawana Beth. I have something better in mind. Follow me. Dr. Wu led them into the hallway and stopped at the elevator. It was already there waiting. I want you and Ben to bring the Sasquatch to the 5th floor fairy lounge. We'll meet you there. The Sasquatch? They both asked. Yes, we'll need help collecting the fairies and containing them. But that means the Sasquatch will be going into the woods, and I thought creatures weren't supposed to leave the hospital, Ben said. The last time the Sasquatch had gotten loose, It had caused a lot of trouble at the senior center. Under normal circumstances, that is correct, but this is a dire situation. We need as many hands as we can get, even if they are furry. She and Mr. Tabby waited while Pearl and Ben stepped into the elevator. Then Dr. Wu reached in and pushed the third floor button. "See you soon," she said. Just before the doors closed completely, Pearl overheard Dr. Wu say to Mr. Tabby, "I fear my time here is nearing an end." "We must." As the elevator ascended, Dr. Wu's voice faded away. "Huh?" Pearl turned to Ben. "Did you hear that? What does she mean her time here is nearing an end? Is she going to move? I don't want her to move." Pearl felt panicky, but Ben yawned again. Oh, his eyelids closed halfway. "Don't you care about Dr. Wu moving?" "Sure I care. I'm just so tired." He wobbled a bit. She grabbed his shoulders and shook him. "Don't fall asleep. This could be the most important day of our apprenticeship ever." "You mean night," he corrected. The elevator stopped and the doors opened. Each time they stepped into the forest suite, Pearl was amazed. The entire third floor had been turned into a natural habitat of forest-dwelling creatures. A little stream ran through the center, curling past trees that grew to the ceiling. Dew dripped from branches, mushrooms sprouted from moss, and somewhere in the depths, a tree frog croaked its hellos. A row of windows on the far wall revealed the starless night sky. "Here, Sasquatchy," Pearl called as she pushed past some ferns. It didn't have a name other than Sasquatch. In fact, they didn't even know if it was a boy or a girl. "Here, Sasquatchy." "I bet it's sleeping," Ben said. Mist swirled around his head. He buttoned his pajamas top all the way to his chin. They'd visited the forest suite many times in the bright daylight to give the Sasquatch a flea bath, to trim its nails, to do yoga, but Pearl had never noticed a cave, a nest, or a regular sort of a bed. "Where do Sasquatches sleep?" she wondered. "Maybe there's a light switch," Ben said. He felt around the wall. "Oh, here it is." He and Pearl squinted as light instantly flooded the room. "Yikes, that's bright." Then a growl pierced the air, followed by cracking branches and thundering footsteps. "Uh-oh." "There's nothing to worry about," Pearl assured Ben. "The Sasquatch has proven time and time again that it was not to be feared. It was a chocolate-loving, goofy sort of creature." "But it sounds mad. I woke it up. I hate being woken up, especially if I'm in the middle of a nice dream." He had a point. The Sasquatch was 7 feet, 4 inches tall, and strong enough to pick each of them up with one hand. The growling grew louder. Pearl began to feel a little shaky. A couple of frogs leaped out of the way as the Sasquatch stomped over a huckleberry bush. When Pearl saw the creature, she stopped worrying and giggled. It was wearing a nightcap and holding a teddy bear, and it had a terrible case of bedhead all over its furry body. The Sasquatch stood in front of them, opened its mouth, and growled again. "We're sorry we woke you up," Pearl said, "but Dr. Wu needs your help." The Sasquatch closed its mouth, took off its nightcap, then scratched its brown nose. "Yeah," Ben said, "we're supposed to meet her on the 5th floor." She stepped into the elevator. "Come on," he motioned, but the creature wouldn't budge. Ben tried taking its hand and pulling. Pearl tried pushing, but it wasn't easy to move 410 pounds of fur. "Do you have any chocolate?" Ben asked. "Or gum?" Pearl almost always had gum on her, and she and Ben had learned that the best way to motivate the Sasquatch was through its stomach. "I'm in my pajamas. I don't have..." She reached into her pocket of her pajama pants and pulled out a pack of Fruity Chews. "Oh, I guess I do." The Sasquatch dropped the teddy bear and tried to grab the pack. Pearl stepped back. "Oh, no, you don't." "I'm not picking this out of your fur again," the creature grunted, pointing to its mouth. "Okay, just one piece, but only if you come with us." As she backed into the elevator, Pearl waved the gum. After the Sasquatch had lumbered inside, she handed him a single piece. Ben quickly pushed 5. As the elevator made its ascent, the Sasquatch happily chewed, wrapper and all. It took another piece to get the creature out of the elevator, but so far, so good. They'd followed Dr. Wu's instructions. The 5th floor hallway looked much like the hospital's other hallways with dim lighting and lots of closed doors. Pearl and Ben glanced up and down, wondering where they were supposed to go. While Pearl held the Sasquatch's hand, Ben began to wander, trying the doorknobs to see if any would open. "Here it is," he called upon reaching the last door. "Come on," Pearl told the Sasquatch. She was excited to see the fairy's special room, but Dr. Wu's words still rang in her mind. "I fear my time here is nearing an end." The sign on the door read, "First Class Fairy Lounge." Below the sign in the center of the door, a tiny door had been built, and it had a tiny doorknob. Ben's knuckles was too big for the fairy-sized door, so he knocked on the bigger one. No answer. "Did Dr. Wu tell us to meet her inside?" "I think so," Pearl said. Ben turned the knob, and what they found was a wonder to behold. Chapter 10, The First Class Fairy Lounge.